Coming up on the next episode of Zuzu All Grown Up.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
You're now listening to Zuzu All Grown Up.
She's been featured in more than 20 films from the early days of film and television.
He is a psychotherapist and her loving husband.
Together, they are on a mission to brighten your day and your life.
It's a time to smile, a time to laugh, a time to expect more.
It's time to get inspired with your hosts, Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell.
It's time to meet Zuzu, all grown up.
Do you believe that life is wonderful in principle, but for some reason just isn't so consistently in practice? Every life will have its ups and downs. But have you ever thought that if there were only more people around you encouraging, uplifting, and even inspiring you, then life would be more fulfilling? If only people like George and Mary Bailey were in your inner circle, then life could truly be wonderful all the time? If so, we've got good news for you, because you can find such people on this podcast and at zuzunetwork.com. This podcast is the vision of Karolyn Grimes, Zuzu, and Dr. Chris Brunell, illustrating how the timeless message of It's a Wonderful Life can be and is applied to our modern lives and situations. Indeed, when you take that message to heart, your life will become immeasurably more wonderful. Visit us at zuzunetwork.com and listen to this podcast series to learn more about how. Now sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy another episode of Zuzu, All Grown Up.
Get ready for miracles. Get ready for Zuzu. All grown up.
Coming up today, a young Ukrainian boy and an American girl want to find a way to help in the midst of the war in the Ukraine. The result is Freedom Pancakes for Ukraine, where volunteers provide a meal, love, and support for the Ukrainian people. Dr. Janice, Paolo, welcome to the show. And Karolyn and Dr. Chris, good to see you as always. Well, today's topic is Freedom Pancakes for Ukraine, a children's book about life through the eyes of children in Ukraine. It's really a remarkable story about how people, young people from across borders, can come together in a tough situation and make a meaningful difference and impact to the world around them. We look forward to today's show. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. We are all ears.
Today, we're really excited about having Dr. Janice Cohn, and she's a psychologist and author. And we're going to talk about her new book today, which is called Freedom Pancakes for the Ukraine. Along with Janice, we have someone very interesting who helped her. And he has a beautiful name. Will you share it with us?
Paolo Volpati-Kedra.
Thank you for joining us again on this podcast to share your book, Freedom Pancakes for Ukraine, and for bringing along your friend Paolo, who inspired your book. Paolo, let's sharing with us your background.
Sure. I'm a former CEO. I came to America in 93 to go to college and decided to stay. As a good Italian immigrant, I decided to fund pasta sauce company. And that led to an incredible 17-year adventure. As a person, I am a very caring and giving person. And I always grew up with the notion that food needs to be shared. And also food represents an international language that everybody can understand. Just like Janice, when the war in Ukraine started on February 24th of 2 years ago, believe it or not, I couldn't sit on my couch and donate. I looked at my wife, and I have goosebumps right now recalling the moment. I have to go and help these people. And so I started researching organizations that could assist me in my mission. And I landed on World Central Kitchen, which was absolutely perfect. They had just set up their operations in Przemyśl, which is a little town that borders with Ukraine. And then on my own, I organized my trip. So my flight, my car, my stay, and showed up a few days later and started volunteering. And this became the most wonderful adventure of my life. Power of comfort that food can give was displayed in front of my eyes every single day. I was welcoming mothers and children that have walked in fields for days, sometimes with pets. And you could see the trauma in their face. And by giving them physically, handing a tray Ukrainian food on it, we were able to create a magical moment of comfort for them where they would sit down, they would enjoy a warm meal, they would relax, they would breathe, and they would feel safe. And the first mission lasted 16 days. And I had decided to come back. On my flight back, I asked myself, what are you doing? So I landed, and a week later, I was back on a flight, back again for a second mission of 10 days. And it will stay in my mind forever as the most amazing adventure. Of course, I was surrounded by like-minded people who had put aside their lives and their work and their families to give everything that they had to support tragedy and the victims of this terrible tragedy. There were brutal shifts, 13 hours a day, 7 days a week, but it didn't matter. I remember I would collapse. I wouldn't go to bed. I would collapse at night, and I would wake up in the morning with this uncontrollable energy to go back into the field and fulfill my mission and help these people and care for these people.
Mm.
Can you share the WCK and how that organization enabled to assist the Ukrainian people?
Yes, World Central Kitchen was born a decade ago when Haiti had terrible earthquake. Jose Andres is the founder. He's one of the top chefs in the world. And besides the cooking and the hospitality business, his life mission is to give support during tragedies to displaced people and traumatized people. So when this was the first time the World Central Kitchen had responded to a war, this had never happened before. It was earthquake, hurricanes, floodings, fires, never a war. So there was an intricate risk associated with this mission. But I have to tell you, I arrived 3 days after they set up a commissary. And my background, industrial production and cooking in very, very large volumes, fit right in to what they were doing. But you go into these missions with absolutely no ego. So he has the power to dispatch chefs from all over the world. We were mainly Americans, so it was mainly people from the United States, because that's where his strongest network is, and that's where his business is. And so envision a warehouse set up as a commissary where one area is the cooking area. And World Central Kitchen is famous for using these huge kettles that are easily assemblable and easily operational because they just have they're gas fed and they have a flame underneath. But we could prepare 500 meals per kettle. And we were preparing 15 to 20,000 meals a day when I was there. It was a machine that would not stop. And then imagine another side of the warehouse where all the non-chef volunteers would be assembled. And we were prepping for the chefs. So it was just like an industrial assembly chain where you have raw materials coming in, you have the volunteers prepping these raw materials, and then you have the chefs assembling them and cooking them. We had a little bit of an issue at the beginning where we were not perfectly aligned culinary-wise with culinary traditions of the refugees were, and immediately shifted into Ukrainian mode, did our research, and started feeding them their own food. Because again, it makes no sense to further the traumatized soul by feeding them something they don't know. So we wanted to bring back this familiarity of their food through these meals that we were serving. And you could see the emotions in their eyes, because obviously food is a very emotional thing and brings up emotions and memories. And so we fulfilled that mission that way. It's a wonderful organization. It does wonders around the world. They're usually the first ones to intervene without the assistance of any government entity. It's an NGO. And their operations have gotten to a point where they can set up tent and start operating within a few days. And they don't stop until they have fulfilled the mission. The other beautiful side of this is that World Central Kitchen engages the local economy. So we were not able to sustain and provide everything that was needed at the time. And so World Central Kitchen basically creates a network of local restaurants who, besides serving the regular meals, prepare meals for World Central Kitchen. They get paid like a Swiss watch, so it's great for their business. But by engaging the local economy, now you suddenly have a village behind this whole mission rather than 100 employees. And it makes it so much more powerful.
Now, when you're talking about a kettle to cook this food, you're talking about a very large kettle.
Yes, it's probably a 7-foot wide kettle, shallow and wide, and it allows you to saute and it allows you to cook. So we were cooking a lot of semi-liquid meals, like a goulash, for instance, or soups. And then when Janice starts talking about the details of her book, then I can interject with the details of specific tricks that we would use to not only engage the refugees in general, but we were very focused on the children. The children were the most traumatized entity of what we were observing. You would see children walking around, and again, I have goosebumps, with ghost faces, like completely shocked, until we gave them food and until we used a few tricks. And one of those tricks I came up with, and it's mentioned and it's depicted in Jenna's book, but it's to make a traumatized child smile. It's powerful and it's empowering. And when the child smiles, the mother smiles. And then you have a happy entity.
So how do you feel that this experience has changed your life?
Initially, when I came back, and again, I didn't fight the war. I didn't hear the war and I didn't see the war per se. I saw the effects, the repercussions of this terrible war. So please don't consider me a hero of any. There are much greater heroes like the fathers who were left behind to fight. Those are the heroes. We were supporting heroes. We were taking care of heroes' families. But I remember coming back, and there's this term of PTSD that is very common in people that go through intense experiences. I found it difficult to come back and re-engage, honestly, my spoiled life. You are annoyed because the sushi delivery came without the chopsticks, or the Uber is late. And you realize that that means nothing, absolutely nothing compared to what these poor souls were going through, where a gesture would change their mood and their day. Forget about the sushi without the chopsticks. So I had a hard time re-engaging, and also I had a hard time observing all the people that I'm usually surrounded by complaining about the chopsticks. But this further enhanced the spirit that lives in me, that it's a caring and giving spirit and an emotional spirit. And I spent the first 16 days crying every single day because I couldn't believe how unjust this situation was and how disruptive it became within a matter of days to an entire population, and a population that was made up of children and women, which is what I observed, and the men left behind fighting. So I think that it further enhanced the giving spirit, and it allowed me to propagate my message and convince other people to volunteer in many other ways that are closer to home, are not necessarily in Poland, because not everybody can go to Poland for 26 days. But I feel richer inside after this wonderful experience.
So do you know how many people you served actually?
Physically, the first part of my mission was in the commissary. So I was not in touch with the refugees at that point. I was within the World Central Kitchen organization. The minute I had the opportunity to go to the welcoming center, and I was blessed with the fact that 2 Americans were there volunteering, and one of them got COVID and they had to leave. And so this created 2 empty slots at the welcoming center. And an American gentleman and myself jumped on a car and drove. We were both experienced in food safety, and there were some issues with food safety at the welcoming center. So that was our first mission. And then after that, I asked and begged to be there because that's where I felt I had to be. Because for me, it was about looking these people in the eyes, seeing the trauma, and then seeing the transformation through a meal. Something absolutely beautiful to watch. So to answer your question, I probably serve 200 people a day, 1,500 to 2,000 people.
How did you get to know Janice?
Through a tennis partner. So I live upstate, and I used to play tennis with a common friend, Marilyn, and she found out about my story through my Facebook posts. And obviously she knew that Janice was a children's book writer. And so she put the two things together, and it was love at first sight.
So Janice is a psychotherapist and author of Pancakes for the Ukraine.
Freedom Pancakes for Ukraine. And that's what happens in the book. One of the characters decides to sell those to earn money to donate children.
So how would you best describe the book and how it brings together a young Ukrainian boy and American girl who want to find a way to help Ukrainian children?
Well, the book is really based on, in many ways, at least what takes place in Poland, on Paolo's experiences, which he very vividly told me. My character of Artem is a composite character, and his mother is a composite character as well. And in the book, Artem and his mother have to leave Ukraine to go to safety in Poland. He has to leave his home behind, but most importantly, leave his father behind because he is fighting for freedom back in Ukraine. And Artem is frightened, he's confused, he doesn't know what's going to happen when he arrives in Poland, which is a country he has never been in. And this is all based on true experiences that others, including Paolo, has had.
We'll join Karolyn and Chris in just a moment with more of Zuzu All Grown Up.
First, an important message.
Maybe he was born with his witty humor. Some people bring joy wherever they go, some whenever they go. Or as a frontier newspaper reporter. There's nothing to be learned from the second kick of a mule.
Maybe he got his insights from being a riverboat captain.
Never argue with a fool. Onlookers may not be able to tell the difference.
Wherever he went, Mark Twain found humor all around. Humor. Pass it on. From passiton.com.
Start your morning right with premium coffee roasts available at ZuzuNetwork.com and drink them in your Zuzu All Grown Up coffee mug. Also perfect for tea and hot chocolate.
Stay inspired throughout the day with the same gratitude journal used by Karolyn and Chris, and check out t-shirts, hats, books, Christmas keepsakes, and more at ZuzuNetwork.com/shop.
Are you wondering whether to sell or donate the car you no longer need or want? Consider that. Donating it to a legitimate, legally recognized nonprofit organization, not only will you receive a tax deduction, but you'll be contributing to a worthy cause. Finding a worthy nonprofit organization can be time-consuming and even a bit stressful. I'm here to present to you one of the most amazing, legitimate 501c3 nonprofit organizations in the world. The United Breast Cancer Foundation. The UBCF provides screenings, treatments, aftercare services, educational materials, as well as patient and family assistance. We ask that you help in that mission by donating your unwanted or unused vehicle to the UBCF. Simply call 888-842-5505. The process is fast and easy. Call 888-842-5505. 888-842-5505. Help us in our mission and get a tax deduction. Call 888-842-5505. Thank you for your support.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, give us a call at 800-683-4655. That's 800-863-4655. 800-683-4655.
A careless driver can change your life in an instant. Do you know what to do or who to call? If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and don't have an attorney, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free consultation. We can answer all of your questions and estimate the potential value of your case. Call Auto Accident Help Desk and connect with an expert personal injury attorney.
Call 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766.
Don't worry how to handle your medical bills, lost wages, and pain. We will get you the money you deserve.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
The consultation is free, and you don't pay any legal fees unless we win or settle your case. Make the smart call if you've been injured in an auto accident. Call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free legal consultation.
Call 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766.
Auto Accident Help Desk.
Join Zuzu's network today at zuzunetwork.com/join.
Karolyn is creating an international network of aspiring angels, everyday people who believe that they can help make the world a better place by making life better for even just one other person.
Let us know you want to earn your wings at zuzunetwork.com/join, and Karolyn and Chris will send you inspirational material to support you in your journey.
We're back with more Zuzu All Grown Up.
So he takes a train trip with his mother, and they arrive in a small Polish town, and they're taken to something called, or the Welcoming Center. And they, both the mother and Artem, get to meet volunteers such as Paolo. They're strengthened by not just the food that they have, because I think food can be very nurturing and healing, but by the kindness of people like Paolo. A lot of the experiences that I write about that this young boy has, had described to me. For instance, he talked about his secret weapon. And one of the things that he would do, there were a couple of secret weapons that he had, but one of them was giving out fruit pouches, which is considered a great delicacy for Ukrainian children. And he would give them out. And it really was a gesture of generosity and kindness, but also that they knew something that they were familiar with. And I think that everything happened in World Central Kitchen was really focused on helping these children and their parents recover from trauma, at least immediate trauma. All they could do was to provide hot meals, but that meant an enormous amount to the people that they served. But also there's an interconnecting storyline in my book, which is a young American girl, which was actually based on a real life person, the daughter of a friend of mine, and her name was Hannah. And when she was 6 years old, she managed to raise an extraordinary amount of money by very creative means, shall we say, to help African children who needed mosquito nets. And she was my model because children today are exposed to so much violence, cruelty, what happens in the world. And, they can feel helpless, they can feel frightened, confused. And I wanted to show a way that American children can do something about the injustice in the world that they live in. And one of the injustices is helping, young people like themselves, children that are dealing with war or displacement. And we know that not only helps children that they're trying to help, but it also, most of all, helps themselves. What we know from the research, I talked about this a little bit about the podcast that I was a part of about a month ago, that when children engage in helping behavior, it not only helps other people, it enhances their self-esteem. It makes them less prone to depression. It counters anxiety. They feel a purpose, which, in this world that we live in is important. There's meaning. All of these things are really good for kids. So what I'm hoping to do really is a call to action to kids about what they can do to help others in Ukraine. Maybe it's other countries, maybe it's in this country, but a way to connect and help with other children that need their help. So that was the premise of the book.
So how you said that there's secret weapons, chocolate fruit pouches. How do they use those weapons?
Well, I mentioned the Paolo's secret weapon of handing out fruit pouches, which was so meaningful to the kids. And this is all in the book. He also would hand out chocolate and hot chocolate, which for someone like myself who's a chocoholic, that is a wonderful way to comfort ourselves. And it's universal. You know, whether you speak the language or not, whatever country you're from, food is so universal, and chocolate particularly, I think, is considered a great treat. One of the things that the way that I wanted my character, Hannah, to help raise money for the Ukrainian children was by selling some kind of food. And I wasn't sure what. And I thought, well, the character would want to sell some kind of Ukrainian food. So I went on the internet and, just Googled Ukrainian food. And I came upon one of the things that Ukrainians regularly eat is potato pancakes, which is called Deruni, Deruny. And I had remembered, during Hanukkah celebrations, having potato latkes, which is a kind of potato pancake. But more importantly, the symbolism of that is the symbolism of Hanukkah is fighting for freedom. And so that was something I immediately clicked. Well, freedom fighters fighting in Ukraine, potato pancakes, Deruni or latkes. And then I thought it could become freedom pancakes. And that's what she could sell. And that's where the title, one of the ways she raises money.
Would this be like a book that you would use if one of your clients or a family member struggled to understand how they could make a difference in the lives of others?
Well, I think we all want to find some meaning, want to make a difference, especially in the world we're living in, which can be so difficult and horrifying, sometimes seem so unfair, so full of injustices. And we want to find a way to do that. Yes, I think adults and children. There's a wonderful book. It's called The Miracle Drug. And it was written by two doctors, and I'm afraid I can't remember their name. But the whole basis of the book is they pose the question, you were told, meaning adults, children, all of us, that there was something, a drug that you could take that had no side effects, that would heighten your sense of happiness and purpose. Would you take it? And of course, the answer is yes. And it turns out that drug is not a pharmaceutical. That drug is helping others. And it's really, I think it fills a need that all of us have to do something. Sometimes we don't know how to do that. And I think we're just struggling to find a way. As I wanted to help, as with Paolo, I didn't want to just sit on the couch and donate money. I wanted to help. I'm a psychotherapist. I thought maybe I could do psychotherapy. Would have been a problem since the whole power of psychotherapy is through words. And I didn't know Ukrainian and I didn't know Polish. So I had to find another way. And my way was writing a book. I write books for children. And it's my hope that this not only will give children an understanding of what it's like for other children in difficult circumstances. As Paolo said, I had the same reaction. It really puts things in perspective. And I think sometimes American children, especially privileged American children, it puts things in perspective to really think about what it's like to have a country at war, to lose your home, to have to go to another place.
As a psychologist, I practice myself. And one of the things that as I'm listening to you, that really resonates is that for many, especially in America, there is a sense of privilege, a sense of us versus them, disconnect. And also, I think that people need examples, or they need to be led by other examples, such as what you're talking about here. And I think that it could certainly spark some interest in all of us to, like, what can I do? And as I'm listening to you, I'm hoping that maybe we can get some more tangential kind of, routes to take. Or I don't think that all of us can, have the skill sets that Paolo has in being chefs and fly over there and spend 26 days, or to write a book, how can each individual make their own contribution? One way is to donate money, but you just wonder, it begs to be asked.
Well, this book was really meant to be a tribute, and I put that in the acknowledgement, not just to the Ukrainians and the enormous, their bravery, their resilience, and not just to the Ukrainian children who have had to go through the trauma of war and displacement, but also a tribute to volunteers, people like Paolo, that do things above and beyond. It would have been so easy for Paolo to just donate money. He went above and beyond, and he talked about how good it made him feel. As he says, not everybody can go to Poland, but there are other things that we can do. So it was a tribute to the volunteers as much as to the Polish people that, as Paolo talked about, welcomed so many Ukrainian refugees with open arms, with love and warmth, which is something that doesn't often happen in this world with refugees. And there are just a number of people that have upended their lives to help in various ways. This is a tribute to them, to the Polish people, to the Ukrainian people, and to the, as I said, to the volunteers. But as I also said before, it's a call to action, I hope.
We'll join Karolyn and Chris in just a moment with more of Zuzu All Grown Up.
First, an important message.
To find out more about the organization featured in today's episode or a previous episode, and to learn more about how you can help, go to zuzunetwork.com/beanangel.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is an important announcement for anyone who wants health insurance, even if you missed the deadline. Right now, you can get the health insurance you and your family need from top insurance providers, even if you have pre-existing conditions or no insurance at all. The Plus Benefits Health Insurance toll-free number has been extended to help anyone who wants health insurance coverage now, or if you need a better plan or a lower price. Call Plus Benefits Health Insurance now at 800-332-1993. The call is 100% free and the help is real. Call 800-332-1993. That's 800-332-1993.
Imagine having all the money you need for retirement, all the income, every month, guaranteed. That's Secure Future Investor, an indexed annuity tied to growth in the stock market, but without any risk of loss ever. It's guaranteed money for life income, no matter how long you live. Call 888-288-7088, 888-288-7088. Sponsored by GP Agency Inc., Raleigh, NC. Licensed in all states. Performance may vary. Consult your financial professional before making an investment decision.
1 out of 8 women in the United States will be diagnosed with breast cancer in her lifetime. And the chances are you know at least one person who's been personally affected. But right now, you can help. It's simple. Donate your unwanted vehicle, RV, or trailer to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. It's the easiest way to contribute to one of the nation's leading charitable organizations. The process is fast, easy, and free. Not only will you be helping, but you'll also receive a tax deduction. The United Breast Cancer Foundation offers an array of programs and services that help and support families and individuals dealing with breast cancer. But we can't do it alone. We need your help. Simply give us a call to get started, and we'll schedule a pickup date that is convenient for you. If you have any questions you would like answered before initiating the donation process, please feel free to call us toll-free at 800-324-6218. That's 800-324-6218. 800-324-6218.
Zuzu's book club features recommendations from Zuzu herself on books she loves and thinks you will love also. All of the books that the club reads, fiction and nonfiction, are inspirational and uplifting. Folks, this is a life-enhancing club to be part of. You can sign up for free at zuzunetwork.com/book club. That's zuzunetwork.com/book club. This episode's book for the Zuzu Book Club is Freedom Pancakes for Ukraine by Dr. Janice Cohn. Young Artem lives in Ukraine, and when war breaks out, his father stays behind to fight for freedom, while Artem and his mother take the train to safety in neighboring Poland. Sad and confused, Artem gathers hope and strength from the kindness of others and finds a way to pass it on. Hannah, a girl in the United States, worries about the Ukrainian children and figures out how to take action and make a difference. Freedom Pancakes for Ukraine is a must-read by today's guest, Dr. Janice Cohn.
This is Zuzu, all grown up.
This will encourage American children to think of what they can do to help children around the world or in their own country. There's certainly a need. And I'm wondering if you agree with me, because you're a therapist as well. I think that so much of the mental health problems that children today are experiencing is because they're kind of lost in so many ways. Their role in this world or what they can do.
Yes, they don't feel empowered. They don't know.
Yes, exactly.
Or how they can make an effect, because it's deeply troubling to see, that other children, other people in the world are struggling. And, they're probably wondering, what can I possibly do to help out?
Yeah.
And so I think that this is really exciting that you are, collaborating and working on putting this beautiful story together. It's a story that is that I think that will make a difference. And I'm looking forward to the launch date, which is going to be released pretty soon.
We hope it will be in September. If I may, I'd also like to say a few words about our artist, our illustrator. Because she lives in Ukraine. It's not a typical children's book. I don't quite know how to describe it, but it has incredible illustrations. And our artist, Yana, through the time, and this has been a year now, that she has been working on the artwork for this book, she's been experiencing the trauma of war. Her husband, I believe, is at the front. And she has a young child. And she goes to her studio every day. And she paints these extraordinary pictures. Everybody comments on the quality of the artwork. And I think it's infused with that she's living the story that she is illustrating. And her bravery is amazing. And her story is amazing. So I did want to mention her because it's an important part of the book and it was part of the collaboration.
I read the book and I was very impressed with the way you portrayed that little boy and how he was stationed saying goodbye to his dad. And you didn't dwell on the fact that he might never see his dad again. You just made it light and yet provocative that he would be in pain missing his dad. And of course, his mother had the responsibility of keeping him from the fears that he might have of his own. It's really deep if you really want to look at all the things. And he gets there and he's got these strange people, but he feels welcome. And the food is his nationality. And it just was really incredible. I was very impressed.
One of the things, if I may, one of the things I really had to grapple with, I wanted it to be an honest story. So I couldn't have a happy ending in the sense that, reunited with his father, but I tried to give him hope. And there is one part in the book where he talks to his father on the phone, and Paolo was telling me how important that was. Kept in touch, the refugees with their husband, they would talk on the phone. And he talks to his father on the phone and he says, "I miss you. When can I see you again? When will the war be over?" And his father doesn't know any of those questions, but he reminds him of when there was one night when they wished on a star together, and it was for his birthday. And he says, "We can wish on a star that we will see each other again. And that's what he and his mother does. So I couldn't give false hope or a happy ending, but I could give hope that wasn't false and strength. And at the end of the story, Artem finds a way to pass on the strength and the hope that he has gotten from the volunteer Paolo, who of course is with us now, by taking his one last precious fruit pouch and passing it on to a new boy that comes into the welcoming center looking just as confused and sad as Artem was when he first arrived, before he was able to experience the kindness of volunteers like Paolo.
Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Both of you, yes.
I know this book is going to be released soon. And do you have a launch date?
Not yet, but I'd love to tell you when it will be launched. We're hoping September.
Okay. All right. Okay. Remember, it's Pancakes for the Ukraine. Do you have a website or anything like that?
Yeah, we do. We're working on it now. It's not live yet. It's going to be live we hope, by next week. And it has a lot of, we think, really important information, not just about Ukraine, World Central Kitchen, people like Paolo, but also what kids can do to help. And I think that's important. The name of the website is the name of the book, Freedom Pancakes for Ukraine.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if, besides kids, if, maybe you could include adults as well.
Now, that's a great idea, actually. Paolo, you can help with that, because Paolo says, not everyone could put their life on hold for 26 days to travel to another country. But I think people are looking for a way to make a difference.
Absolutely. There's really infinite ways that each one of us can contribute on a daily basis. If your drive is food, then that's what it is. If your drive is constructing, that's what you do. But it's all about identifying the need and then donating your time to help fulfill that need. And we all go, our days are so intense. There's so much distraction, so much pressure. There's so much noise, I find, that it's harder and harder to really focus on the simple things and the real things. We're bombarded with messages that are meaningless, and those overshadow the meaningful messages. So as a volunteer, I think that you have to dig a little bit deeper. You can't rely on the ads on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram. You have to identify the giving part of your soul and then look for opportunities to cherish that part of your soul.
Well, we really appreciate you joining us today, and we certainly feel that people will be touched by this as they hear this broadcast. So helping make more funds come your way and to Ukraine to help all these children and the situation that exists there. So
thank you.
This has been inspiring. Thank you to today's guests, Dr. Janice and Paolo Volpati-Kedra. And thank you to our hosts, Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell. We'll be right back after these important messages.
Do you know someone who is earning their wings? Someone practicing kindness and service to others? Perhaps an organization or initiative helping make the world we live in a kinder, sweeter place.
Or maybe you've witnessed the miraculous, the divine, the magnificent in some way in your life, and you'd like to share it with others. Go to zuzunetwork.com/tellmystory and let us know more.
You may end up being featured on an upcoming episode of Zuzu All Grown Up. That's zuzunetwork.com/tellmystory. Now here's Seth Kennedy with today's parting thoughts.
There is a lot of hatred in today's world. War and conflict seem to rage on. But then there are pancakes. Sometimes even a pancake can be a light in the darkness. Something as simple as a pancake can make this world a sweet place, if even for just a brief moment, and offer us all a taste of hope. It's not the food, though, that makes a troubled world sweet, but the intentions behind it. It's the sense that there are people who care, people who are willing to make an effort, people who are still sweet. That's all we need at the end of the day, to know that we are not alone. Other people, even strangers, are out there wanting to help make life better for all of us. I'm Seth Kennedy, and that's my takeaway.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Zuzu All Grown Up.
We hope you've been inspired to live your most wonderful life now and to help those around you do the same.
Remember, no matter what you're going through, no matter who you are, there are people who care about you, and your life makes a difference.
It is a wonderful life.
Check out ZuzuNetwork.com for more on today's and other episodes, including transcripts and merchandise you won't want to be without.
New episodes are coming soon.
For transcripts of today's broadcast, go to ZuzuNetwork.com/transcripts. Zuzu All Grown Up with your hosts Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell.
Announcer and guide Seth Kennedy.
Executive producer Kevin R. Stillmock.
Coordinating producer Holly Ann Way.
Technical producer Stella Joelle.
A Wonderful Land production.
In collaboration with Radio Wonderful.